there, this is Nutty Ratchick and welcome to my Q&A. I'm reading these directly off the webpage, so please bear with me. Okay, first question is from Insane Clown MMA 94, and he says, do you fancy Mark the Minion Lover Pearson? Well, I recently met Mark Pearson, believe it or not, and he's an absolutely lovely guy. And his girlfriend is an absolutely lovely lady. And that's about all I'm going to say on that one. Beer Money 2K said, welcome back. Thanks for that, guys. NJ17 says, welcome back, Nature Girl. I look forward to your later Q&A. My question for you would be, if Taker was to wrestle again, who should his opponent be and why? Right. This is actually a question that was... A very similar question was asked by Sparks Phoenix, and he put, here's my question, and this is only valid if the Undertaker does not retire. How would you solve the growing problem that is picking the Undertaker's opponent? According to fans these days, you can't have a young guy because they don't deserve it, and you can't have an established guy because they don't need it. This creates a very narrow gap in the middle. Who would you decide fits that gap? Right, I do definitely agree that there is a very much narrow field of people who are good enough that you believe they could beat The Undertaker, and who are not so experienced that it would be a waste for them to beat The Undertaker. But I think I would probably go on the doesn't deserve it side more. I mean, doesn't need it side more. And go with somebody like Chris Jericho, who doesn't need it at all, but who, in my mind, is a valid opponent for Undertaker. So hopefully that answers both of your questions. The Drama Series says, hey now, glad to see you back. Thank you. MJK Show says, welcome back. Thank you. LV5454 says, mark out! I don't know whether that's for my return or whether that was actually meant to be a question. But probably my last mark out would be... Ooh. Actually, I will answer that later because I have a question later on which involves my most recent mark out. So I shall talk about that later on. Welcome back, Nutty Rock Chick. This is Mania 17 Austin. My question is, do you think CM Punk has been lacking of late? That's a hard one. I think with the structure of the feud they're in at the moment, a lot of the mic time is more on Jericho, and it's harder for CM Punk to be as pipe bomb as he can be, if that makes sense. So I can understand why people would see that as a lack, but I think it's just the way the feud is, if that makes sense. Rotisserie Jamie, Nutty, welcome back. Thanks, chick. Tino Fest 1989 says, yes, you're finally back. Oh, bless. Thank you. Rhea Wrestling. It's REA Wrestling. That's how it's spelled. Welcome back, Nutty Chick. Question I got for you is, who would you like to see Lesnar feud, past or present, that you would want to see personally? Ooh. That's a hard one. I think they're actually building to a Lesnar Tenzai feud because they're building them both up. That's what I think is happening at the moment. But who would I personally like to see them Lesnar feud with, past or present? Ooh, I'm trying to think. Oh God, that's really hard. I've never been a big Lesnar mark, so it's not really easy for me to pick somebody. I'm trying to think past who would have been really, really good. See, my instinct makes me want to say Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, but that's just because I would put them with anybody. Yeah, maybe a Shawn Michaels, just to see how good of a match he could pull out of Lesnar. I think that would be interesting. And maybe a Triple H mid-attitude era Triple H. Heel evil Triple H with Sledgehammer in tow would be interesting. The JDC 34 Life. Welcome back, beautiful. Wink, wink. Bless ya. Killer of Demons. I presume 99. I presume that's Human Killer. Glad to see you back. Thank you. Wrestling Jesus, thanks a lot for the plug. You're very welcome, honey. Always are. Team Rara, glad you're back. Thanks. This is for your Q&A. Are you going to pick up the WrestleMania 28 on DVD? I'm tempted purely because I want to see the full Hall of Fame for Edge. I don't know how much longer it is. If any of you guys already have the DVD and it is a lot longer, let me know, because that would make me more inclined to buy it. I didn't think it was the best WrestleMania ever, so I don't think I'd necessarily buy it for the card. Because I thought the first hour was awful. But I'm answering a question from later. Oh dear. Welcome back. This is Pedroso Calamero. I have no idea whether I ever say his name right, but he doesn't seem to be too upset anyway. Welcome back. Cheers from Portugal. What are your thoughts on the current storyline between Daniel Bryan and AJ and the people involved? I actually really like AJ. I think she's really cute and really sweet, and I think she's a very nice young lady. I don't know. I really like that Daniel Bryan's now as over as he is. I was one of the people who was slightly skeptical about that. I actually got some DVDs recently of The American Dragon, and it's 1, 2, and it's 12 discs of early Bryan Danielson, which hopefully when I'm done watching them I will review them for you. So it's all his ROH stuff. So I will try and review that for you when I get through watching it. I actually quite like the current Daniel Bryan story arc. I think it's quite nice. I think they've done it quite well. I think the fact that he's separated from AJ so that because he doesn't really need the valet to be over, and it frees AJ up to do whatever else she needs to do. Boston Fan 79 V2. Hey! Welcome back, Jake. Always love your videos and thanks for the plug. You're very welcome. Question: where do you see John's character going after John Cena's character, obviously, going after Extreme Rules, do you think he will change? I think he's going to take a break. I think that the only way they can carry on the Brock Lesnar character at the moment is to have Cena step away for a little bit, and I think he's going to come back rejuvenated. I quite like that they did the Edge promo saying we need the old John Cena, the old kick-ass John Cena back, because this sort of, yes, I was beat, I'm sorry, John Cena, it's just really depressing. But it is an anti to the Super Cena, so maybe somewhere in the middle. Though I must admit, it did make me smile when I saw him come out wearing that chain, the old school chain. That made me smile. Reminded me of old rapper Cena, which I did enjoy when he was originally doing it. Next question is Android Phantom. Who do you think would be best to carry TNA and its World Championship for the company going forward? Ooh, little bit of a true confession to make here. I've not watched a lot of TNA. I did watch Lockdown, but that's the first pay-per-view I've seen in a good 6-8 months. So I've just got back to watching some of TNA. Thanks to the British Fist who've encouraged me to go back to watching it. You see, I'm totally biased because anyone says TNA to me and the first two names that come into my head are Joe and AJ Styles, purely because they are TNA to me. But that's going backwards rather than going forwards. I think guys like Austin Aries is the future of TNA. I think this new thing they're doing with the anyone on the roster can challenge for the titles thing is really, really good. I think it will freshen it up quite a lot. And I think we'll see the stars come out of the rough through that. And the gut check thing's very clever as well. So I think we've got a lot of new stuff to see from TNA. And I think it's going to be very interesting in the coming weeks. Big Bert says, glad to hear and see from you. Thank you. Oh, wow, that's a name and a half. DFTMMWGITD. Is there some way to say that? I don't know it. So I've just read out the letters. Oh, bless. He says, you are very important. People like you and you're a good person. Oh, make me hide in my jumper. We've got a couple more from Spaz Phoenix, and I'll forgive him. Even though I said one question, I'll forgive him and let him have two. Because he didn't get the Undertaker question because the Fabulous NJ asked it first. If he returned, how would you build up a Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker for Mania 29? I think a big thing would be that both their fans refer to their fans as creatures of the night and both faces. Oh, I would not put Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker. I really wouldn't. I don't think Jeff's ready to be back yet anyway. I really don't know who I'd put Jeff Hardy against, to be honest. Maybe put him on SmackDown with the Sheamus, Orton, Bryan Danielson, ADR. Maybe, because he hasn't faced most of those. So maybe put him with that group. And then you could get some good matches out of it. But I certainly wouldn't put him against The Undertaker. I just don't think that he has... he has the fans, but I don't think he has the credibility as a badass enough, if that makes sense, to go against The Undertaker. Second question, how badly would the YWC freak out if in a big 4 pay-per-view, Bryan, Ray, I presume it's right, he says he means Rey Mysterio, Ziggler, Rhodes lost to Miz, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus and Otunga. In other words, 4 faves versus the most 4 Shatan wrestlers in the current product. Thanks, have fun, glad you're back. I still like The Miz. I know they've buried him at the moment, but I do still like The Miz. I don't think there will be any problem with Alberto Del Rio winning against a Ray or a Ziggler. I think that would be relatively credible. The only one of those 4 I would say that I would just see never going over would be Otunga. But I just don't get what anyone sees in Otunga anyway, so. Dlaxman, hey Alex. About time, welcome back. Thanks. Sarcastic Venom, hey Rob. Just how useless is the Ultimate Warrior? Oh, he's asked me this on purpose because when I was little and I first started watching WWE, I was a big Ultimate Warrior fan. And I kind of accept the fact now that he wasn't the best wrestler in the world. Being an adult and seeing things in a much more realistic point of view. Not just, ooh, pretty bright colours and running. I don't think he was useless. I think he was very fitting with the era that he was in, and he did a reasonable job. I think there are certainly some Ultimate Warrior matches that you could watch where he was at least credible in, against people like Rick Rude and people like that. There are some good Ultimate Warrior matches out there. Killer of Demons 99 question. Where do you see ROH in the next 5 years? It's a 50-50. And that's either they're going to get a load of new talent and they're going to become competition for TNA, or they're going to fizzle out. Because ROH's big problem at the moment is that their roster is getting stale, which is a major problem for a smaller company. They really need some fresh faces and some fresh guys in, and some fresh upper card talent, because everyone's getting sick of seeing Strong, Edwards and Davey. So they really do need some more upper level stars. Obviously the problem that they have is whenever they get upper level stars, they end up going to WWE or TNA. So they're kind of in a catch-22. But yeah, they either need to build themselves a good stock of young talent and push themselves up to be competition for TNA, or they are just going to phase out, which would be a shame because I think they're a very good company. My leg has completely gone numb. Ah, pins and needles. Ah. Oh, snap, Chloe, who, by the way, is a very pretty girl. I just thought I'd mention that. I hope she doesn't take that personally, but I just thought I'd mention it because I saw a picture and went, ooh. I apologise if you're really young, by the way. Welcome back, Nutty Watcher. Question. Did you watch WrestleMania? If so, what was your favourite match on the card and overall thoughts of the pay-per-view? My favourite match was probably the Hell in the Cell. My overall thoughts on the pay-per-view, the first hour was awful, up until the Hell in the Cell. But the 3 matches that really needed to be good were good. Jericho Punk was good, and Cena was good. I don't think Cena was as good as everyone thought it was going to be, but I do think it was a good match. And last but not least, the Mark Pearson. Glad to see you back. My question is, have you ever been to a live show, and can you tell us about it? Yes, thank you very much, Mark. Mark asked this question because last weekend we went to a UK show called Speed King, and it was crowning the first Speed King for Southside Wrestling Entertainment. It was my first live show. It was a UK show. The main big name in it was Pac from Dragon Gate, who was absolutely amazing. He did a corkscrew moonsault off the top rope to the outside, which was like, oh. And he did a standing shooting star press, which was like, oh. So there were quite a few like real mark out moments, which is what I was saying about LV's mark out thing earlier. There were some real mark out moments. There were some really good matches. The 2 Gnome Dar matches were really, really good. I think Gnome Dar was the star of the show, even though he didn't win. Me and Mark were definitely pulling for him to win. Overall, it was a really, really good show, and it was an amazing experience. And thank you very much, Mark, for taking me. It was much appreciated. So that has been my Q&A. I probably rambled on for, oh my god, 22 minutes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you keep watching. Like, subscribe, and take care, everybody. Mwah.